Hey YouTube, welcome back, or if this is your first time, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy what I do here, I should say. Mostly it is taking you out for some photo walks that I like to do, or seeing new places in the city where I can go take photos. I apologize if this chair is squeaking a lot right off the bat. I've just noticed it. It's much more than usual. Alright, but today, instead of doing a photo walk, I'm going to do something different. Alright, as you may have noticed in the last video, there's something big and shiny missing behind my head. Namely my desktop, the Studio 2, and effectively that thing is dying. I don't know what's going on with it. The fans make a lot of noise. You could literally cook an egg on the top of it because of how much it was heating up. That it's on its way back to Microsoft to get fixed up, replaced, whatever they're gonna do. All right, but one thing I was thinking about as well though is, well, not thinking about it, I should say, but one thing that I have noticed with the Studio is that whilst it's great for photos and videos, it's great for photos, it's not that great for videos. It was struggling badly. So I thought, you know what, I do want to do more videos. I'm never going to stop doing photos, don't get me wrong, that is one thing I do enjoy, but making videos, for those of you who know it, is quite fun as well. So I thought it's time to, well, not really time to get an upgrade, but I'm justifying it by saying I needed to get an upgrade. So I went out and I got myself this. You can't really see it, right, because of the light and the reflection and whatnot, but that is the Gigabyte Aero 15. I'll just give you a quick rundown on the specs because I don't know how technical you guys are. I know I can rattle on about the tech specs till the cows come home because it's one thing I enjoy is IT. But it's a full HD monitor, right? 15 inches, 15 and a half, I forget the exact number. Either way, it's around 15 inches. It's the latest Intel processor. It's a 2080 Super. I know Nvidia and AMD at the time I'm filming this AMD have just had presentations on the new graphics card. Nvidia released some new ones in the past month. But how they're going to get those beasts into a laptop, I would love to see. It's got 32 gigs of RAM, which was the crucial part. Alright, for those of you who do edit photos, you know that you could get away with 16. But if you want to do videos comfortably, 32 is the ideal minimum. You could do 16, but it's just not going to be as smooth working on it as going with 32. It came with 500 gigs of hard disk space, which those of you will know is not a lot in this day and age. So I went and got another 500 gigs chucked in. One of my buddies was kind enough to do that for me. I trust him much more than I trust myself to do that on a laptop. It was a desktop, no issue. Laptop, issue. Leave it to the expert. And he knows he is. So shout out to him. You know, he's going to ask me to keep his name quiet, so I will not say who it is. I'll just say he's a good friend. But anyway, so getting back to the laptop. I've used it for 2-3 weeks now. I got it because that Studio is dying and I wanted to keep working. I didn't want to just put everything on hold, hope Microsoft fixes whatever's wrong with it or replaces it, whatever it is they're planning to do. I wanted to keep working because I can't just sit here and do nothing. So I was already researching a new computer to get anyway. I started thinking, hang on, laptop versus desktop and Apple versus Windows. So laptop versus desktop first. The big advantage of a laptop, you've got everything in one nice, sleek looking package. You can actually see the innard back here. I don't know if it's going to show up so well on camera, but you can actually see the motherboard and the battery and whatnot. But I mean, I do like the sleek black look that this one has. And whereas with a desktop, you can fully customize it to whatever you want. If you look, you know, like I've got these lights back here. You can put that in the case as well, which I do with the keyboard, and this keyboard does it. They both do it, and I let them run. But the downside is you are in one fixed location. I mean, if you're in a dedicated office space like I'm here, it's great. But sometimes I want to pick up whatever I'm working on and go sit on the sofa and like write up a blog, do some emails, or whatever the case may be. And with a desktop, you can't do that. I mean, I do have an iPad. Typing on that because I use OneNote just isn't as great. I'm not a fan of the Apple Notes and but let's not get into that, I digress. So that's why I chose laptop, also because that way if I do want to go somewhere overnight, I can bring it with me and back up photos straight away. Whereas with an iPad, unless you get the brand new ones, or an iPad Pro, is not as easy, and I don't need to upgrade my iPad as yet. Or do I? We'll see. So that's why I chose laptop over desktop. Plus, this was ready right off the shelf at one of the computer stores down here, M-Wave, and went in, picked it up, walked out, had it ready to go within an hour. Everything was installed, and that's one of the great things about this is how quickly it runs. I have not had any issues editing photos and videos on here. I started playing games on here too, and they're all running smoothly, although that's partially that as well. When I'm playing on that nice monitor, well, it's a gaming monitor, so you would expect it to be nice, but everything's been running perfectly. So that's why I chose a laptop over a desktop. As for why I chose Windows over Apple, because I know historically speaking, I say historically, it's 20 years, but in computer terms, that's historic. A lot of creatives, photographers, videographers, and what have you, have often used Apple. And I can understand why, because a lot of the software that you use for photo and video editing runs smoother on Apple. But, and these are big buts, which seriously affected my decision, is a similar spec MacBook Pro, either the 13-inch, which wouldn't have been ideal for video editing because a dedicated graphics card does help with the rendering speed and time, as well as with Photoshop and Lightroom. Having that extra power in the back end does help a lot, but also the price. This one was roughly in the 4K mark. I mean, I got it, and right now it's on sale for 10% off. What can you do? Say la vie. Alright. Had I known it was going to be 10% off, or that the store in general was going to have 10% off, I would have waited and gotten a better one. But I've got what I've got. I'm happy with it. I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing out, shit happens. Pardon my French. I may or may not censor that. You'll find out whether or not I decide to do so. But if I went for a similarly spec Mac, it'd be the 16-inch MacBook Pro, which I did take a look at, and it is a beautiful machine, but it would have been an extra 2K, plus I would have to get 50 million dongles and adapters, or one fancy one, and hope that everything runs smoothly. Whereas with this, I've got Ethernet, HDMI, mini display, 2 USB 3.1 or Thunderbolts, a USB-C, another USB-C, and an SD card reader, all built in, without needing anything, which is a lifesaver. And not having to worry about dongles, adapters, I'm not going to start whinging, but that's one of the reasons I chose more. Yeah, so everything's there. I mean, I don't know if you can see the ports. HDMI, display, USB, regularly, I think that's USB 3.0 or 3.1, I can't remember. And internet. I don't use the headphones because I've got those Sony XM3s, which make amazing sound, and those are Bluetooth, and I've never had issues with those connections, which funnily enough I did on the studio. Go figure. This one connects better to the headphones in the studio. Must be, I don't know. More USB 3s, USB-C, and SD card reader. And I've just realized my friend may not have reattached the part properly, but I've just fixed it. Anyway. Sorry, I'm paranoid now. So that's why I chose that. I mean, Gigabyte's a trusted brand. You could go with Asus, but you are paying a bit of a premium for Asus, but having that second monitor on the keyboard would have been awesome, especially for video editing, because you can have the timeline down there. But having used this now for a couple weeks, editing photos, editing videos, playing a few games, not a lot, because I've got 50 million things on, it's been flawless. It's deliberately set up to be a power laptop, not a battery saver, so if I didn't plug it in, the battery would last 1.5 hours at best if I'm doing any editing, even less if I'm gaming or video editing, but photo editing 1.5 hours. So that's why most of the time it's here, but if I wanted to, that's the good thing, you can change it to battery mode over performance mode, and I can take it to the sofa, write up a blog, and call it a day without worrying about it. I know I could do it on the iPad, but that's a whole different discussion. All right, plus the mobility side of it over a desktop. So that's why I got it. And so far, I love it. I can't complain. If anyone asks me, should you get it? As long as you're okay with full HD and not 4K, and that you don't mind getting someone else to add in another hard disk for you, because that's how it came off the shelf, go for it. Just get it. If you want more hard disk space or a 4K monitor, the price does jump up quite a bit, and I figured, you know, I'm just going to be using, maybe not this one, I might get a bigger monitor that's 4K or an ultra wide, I don't know yet, because a good monitor is, it's a pretty pricey penny to spend, and I want to make sure that I invest wisely. So, but that's a whole different discussion. If you guys do know a good monitor that's great for gaming, video editing, and photo editing, please let me know in the comments below. That would be greatly appreciated, because I've looked at so many of them and I'm still completely blissfully unaware as to which way to go. Alright, speaking of comments and whatnot, if you do like what I've done so far on this video, I know I have rambled on, please consider hitting the like button. If this is your first time, or if it isn't, and you've been here a few times but you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that little notification bell so you know whenever a new video goes up as well. Alright, but I'll wrap this up by saying that's a great laptop. I know I've said it like 3, 4, 5 million times now. I should probably do a counter of it, but I can't fault it. For everything I need to do, it's great. If you just want to do day-to-day stuff, it's probably overkill. If you're a MacBook fan or an Apple fan, I don't know why you'd look at it. Just stick with Apple if that's what you like. Alright, I've got nothing against Apple. I just prefer having everything here instead of relying on the dongles and whatnot. And the fact that I can play most games, provided I make the time to do so, is a great part as well. That I can play it on here versus, you know, just something on the phone. Which is great, you know, if you're trying to kill some time, you can just play on the phone on the sofa. Alright, but that's where I'll leave it. Great laptop, will never complain about it, unless something happens to it like a studio, or that NAS drive, but that's a whole nother chapter. But I do want to say a big shout out to Mway for looking after that for me as well. They did an amazing job. I can understand why they're one of Sydney's best computer stores right now, I really can. Alright, but and I also got the laptop from Mway, so I'll put links to both this. I'll put a link to this one below so you can see exactly which one it is. That way, if you are looking for a laptop to game edit, photo, video edit, I recommend it. Just bear in mind the fact that it is half a terabyte of data, is only 500 gigs, and it's not a 4K monitor. If you're okay with those two, go for it. If not, you can ask me, and I'll give you my opinion. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But yeah, if you want more, then ask me, give me your opinion. I'll be happy to let you know what I think, and we can go from there. But that's it for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, like I said earlier, please consider hitting that like button. And if you haven't yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care for now. Studio 2. Sorry, I've got a visitor in the office right now. Told you about this guy's little chair behind me, and he's decided that he wants to be in here right now, so I can't say no. But anyway, as I was saying, no. Sorry. So